Hey, welcome to. Hello, welcome back to AWS. After a long time, we have a meetup in this live. So, do people's know what we are going to see in this live? So, in this live, I'm going to share my idea on the concept of developing a multi-platform application using some several tech stacks. I will explain all those in a descriptive manner of those tech stacks in coming timeline. Okay, so our channel is going to offer a free webinar in upcoming videos in upcoming thing on the topic about mobile app development using Flutter. So if you are a person who is willing to get a job in a company or don't know how to get started in an information technology, and you are thinking about what to learn in the future and how to learn this, what are things I need to know. So if you are the kind of person, please subscribe to our channel and get notified about the upcoming videos. Okay, so let me share my screen. Okay, so now I am going to share my screen. Okay, the screen is not sharing. Okay, good. So I will explain my idea via a whiteboard. So and also I got my designs ready for the ideation. I will share all the things one by one. Okay, so this is my project. So what type of project is this? What we are trying to do with this project? Let me explain what is the project title. The project title is AirBridge, and this is going to be our application's name too in future, inshallah. Okay. So what is this AirBridge application? What we are going to do with this application and things? Okay. This AirBridge is a multi-platform application which is used to share files to all the platform devices. So I noticed an application similar to this idea, but I want to enhance that idea a way better than that. So the idea is nothing but where I get that one is an airdrop feature in the Mac systems, like in the iOS ecology. You can see a airdrop feature, where you can drop your files or anything from Mac to Mac devices or else Mac to iPhone devices. To enhance this ideology, instead of specific devices, I go for the multi-platform devices, which is something where you can share files or you can share any kind of project text, whatever may be, to a device to another device, which is not relevant to that multi-platform. That's called as multi-platform. So here we have different types of platforms in text. Like I will say some examples. So we have Android operating system, and we have iOS for the Mac as well as the iPhone ecosystems. And for we have desktop industry. In those desktop industry, we have Mac and Linux and Windows. So we have three kinds of operating systems, which is in other words technically called as platform. So in mobile devices, we have Android and iOS platforms, and for the desktop devices, we have Windows, Linux, and Mac. Apart from this, if we go for other platforms too, we have a embedded platform, or I'll say in other terms, it is just like an electronics related one, embedded platform. So embedded platform is nothing but electronic devices. It can be a wearable device or else any kind of big screen devices. Let me say one thing like smart televisions we have right now in that home, in our home. Smart televisions, they do have a operating system in it to that you can see nowadays people's watching Netflix and other and such applications can be installed inside the smart televisions like that. So and also we have wearable devices like smart watches and other things too. So these are all platforms. To achieve this multi-platform, I'm using a technology called Flutter. I hope you peoples will know me using this Flutter technology, since I have uploaded a lot of videos in my YouTube channel relevant to the Flutter mobile app development from the start to the till now. I hope you peoples have a better understanding of that. So since I'm familiar with the Flutter technology, so I'm going to use this Flutter technology to achieve the multi-platform. So I will show you by getting into the Flutter. So this Flutter is a framework from the Google company. Now the Google handles this Flutter framework. I think I got a little bit of laggy internet. Okay. Oh, fine. So this Flutter is a framework from Google where we can build cross-platform, or else in other terms it is called as multi-platform too. Multi-platform applications from a single code base. Let me say what is this single code base or how you can build multi-platform applications. So this project where I'm going to develop this ad bridge is also going to be a multi-platform application. So I have set an example in the previous one, an ad drop for this ad bridge, ad drop in Mac systems where you can share files from Mac to Mac or iPhone to Mac. So to extend this availability, I am trying to build this ad bridge application where you can share files from Windows to Android and Android to iPhone or else Mac to any other devices. So this is what I'm trying to develop. This Flutter is a multi-platform development framework by the Google. So here in the website itself, they have said that we can develop a mobile, desktop, web, and embedded devices apps by using this Flutter. And this Flutter is an open source framework, and also you can achieve multi-platform from a single code base. What do you mean by this single code base? Let me explain in a clear manner. Let me explain you in a clear manner. Okay. So we have different kinds of platforms in the tech industry. So I have said that Android, we have iOS. Let me categorize that into devices itself. We have mobile devices, platforms. Next, if we move further, we can watch embedded devices, like we have smart TV and wearable devices. Some examples I'm saying, wearable devices, and we have platforms in web too. In web technology, we have platforms too. So simply, like we can say Chrome OS, we have that Chrome, entire Chrome, which is nothing but an web related thing, is integrated into an operating system which is called as web OS. We have these web OS, and other times we have one other thing called Chrome OS, which is integrated into some kind of laptop devices. Nowadays we can see in the Google Chromebooks we have the Chrome OS, which is nothing but the web OS is entirely turned to an operating system for a laptop. So we have these kinds of platforms. We have mobile, desktop, embedded, and web, and we have different types of indeed. So we have Windows, Linux, Mac, smart TV, and wearable devices. So to develop applications, in Android and iOS, we need to start with some technologies. For example, if I'm going to develop an app for Android or else iOS, I need to know specific some technologies or else programming language or a framework to get started. Likewise, if I want to develop Android application, the primarily and most widely used an enterprise of, if it is going to be an enterprise app, the developer needs to know the Kotlin, must, because the Kotlin is widely used for Android app development for enterprise level of applications. So this is nothing but this is a native language related to Android. Like we have native languages, each and every people have native language. Like in the world, we have other people's speaking English and people speaking other languages. So each and every country people have their own language to speak. Likewise, each and every operating system needs to be communicate with this programming language. For example, this Android OS, let me clarify in a simple manner. Let us consider a foreigner man from America who only knows English. Apart from that, he doesn't know any kind of language. This goes to India. In India, we can see the most people speaking multiples of languages. Let us consider the people in India speaking Hindi. That guy only knows Hindi. He doesn't know any other language. Now, this foreigner goes to India for meetup and he speaks to that man. But that American guy only know the English, and this Indian guy only know the Hindi. So in between, what they need? Absolutely, they need a translator, which means like the Indian guy speaks in a Hindi, that Hindi needs to be translated to him in English, and his English needs to be translated to him in Hindi. Likewise, so we have Android operating system which only understand this Kotlin and Java. Kotlin and Java. Apart from this Android OS doesn't know any other languages. It doesn't understand apart from this. Like we have for iOS and Mac. Since these two are come from the Apple company, they have their own programming language ready, which is nothing but Swift or else Objective-C. So, which means this iOS and Mac only understand the Swift and Objective-C programming languages. Like if you do some, or else if you try to communicate with the Kotlin or Java to this iOS or Mac, it will not understand. The operating system will not understand. Like if you communicate with the Swift or Objective-C, it will not directly communicate with that Android or iOS operating system. So which means these programming languages communicate with their respective operating system. Likewise, we have for a desktop, where you can use C++, CMake, Java. This Java is different from the Android Java, which is this Java is only used for the desktop, and also .NET, etc., etc. I don't know much about this desktop, but from my knowledge, I'm saying. So I have googled through something and got this answer. And for also the Linux, we got CMake, C++, like this. And for the embedded devices, most core widely it is used for things. We can see the wearable devices like smartwatches and smart TV. These are electronic devices. They are not exactly from this Android OS or this kind of device. They are different from it. So they will use embedded C for embedded C programming language, which means, in other words, to develop an application in the Android operating system natively. This is called as native because this Android OS native programming language is Kotlin and Java. Likewise, these are all native programming languages to these operating systems. So if I want to develop a native application in this operating system like Android, we need to learn Kotlin or Java to develop with it. Likewise, we go for other operating system as well as programming languages. I hope you people have a better understanding in this concept. So this is called as native programming language or else native development. Native development. In tech industries, they will say native development and multi-platform or cross-platform development. These are some tech-related terms used in companies. So native terms is nothing but using that native particular technology for that operating system or anything. Okay. Further, we go for the multi-platform. So now you have understand about what is the native development. The native development by using nothing but that the language that is that operating system needs to understand. Okay. Next, multi-platform. So before getting into this multi-platform, I will say an example for this multi-platform. Let us say Netflix, one kind of application. So let us say something like Netflix or any other applications you can see. With this example, you will understand. You can imagine what are those applications are. In my first example, I'm going to say Netflix. This Netflix, we have Android. In that Android, we have a Netflix app. In the iPhone, we have a Netflix application. In the Windows, we have Netflix application. In the Mac, we have Netflix application. In the embedded devices, we have Netflix application. In the web too, we have the Netflix application. Like if I go to the Play Store and I can download this Netflix application from in the Android, and I can go to the App Store in the iOS and I can download this Netflix. The software or else this application is same in each and every concept. This the same Netflix is present in the Android and also in the iOS and also in the Windows and also in the embedded device. Why I'm saying embedded devices for this Netflix? Because you can see embedded devices. We have smart TV, am I right? In that smart TV, we have Netflix store. Nowadays, most of the people's watching Netflix in the TV rather than that mobile phones or mobile devices. So this Netflix app is present in the television too. So the software is a single term. This Netflix software is a single term, which is used in multiple soft platforms. Like it is also present in the Android platform, iOS platform, Windows desktop platform, as well as the web and also in the embedded platform. So this is called as multi-platform. This is called as sorry for the misspell. Multi-platform. So if a software and application present more than one operating system, then it is said to be a multi-platform software or its multi-platform application. In other technical words, it is also called as cross-platform. So now you have understanding what is multi-platform, cross-platform. Now you will get a question: how these multi-platform or cross-platform apps are developed? Let's get this answer. Okay, let us consider this Netflix itself. This Netflix is present in the Android OS, which means if we want to develop this Netflix natively to this Android OS, we need to get started with the Kotlin or Java. Now you got the point, which is nothing but imagine we have this Netflix company where they have several developers. Let us categorize these developers according to this operating system. Let us consider 5 group of team or else 5 people of group is working on Android platform to develop this Netflix by using this Kotlin or Java. It's up to you whether you are going to use the Kotlin for entirely or else Java for entirely. It's up to you. Okay, so which means the 5 people of that group is going to use Kotlin or Java to develop this Netflix app in Android operating system. Likewise, the other 5 members of group in the same company in the Netflix, they will use Swift or Objective-C, or they will combine Swift and Objective-C to develop the same Netflix app for the Mac and iOS. Now you got the point how multi-platform is done. Okay, so to develop for the desktop like Windows or I forgot to mention here Windows because of that. So simply mentioning the desktop. Okay, Windows. So Windows. So other 5 group of just I'm saying this 5 group of people just for example. Don't need to enclose it as a 5 alone. There will be 100 or thousands of people according to the scalability of this application. So there will be the group of developers where they use these languages to develop native application on their operating system. Likewise for the TV, wearable, and also embedded devices. Okay. Now you got the point how multi-platform is done. So the several teams of peoples will develop by using these native programming languages to develop to their respective operating system. So now you have understand with this Netflix. Let me ask you a question. If you are watching this live, answer it below in the comment section. Can you spot some examples for this multi-platform, or else can you spot some application which are multi-platform or cross-platform? If you find out, don't forget to mention in the comment section. Okay, let's go further. Okay, so now this multi-platform or else to develop these cross-platform applications is not an easy task. It will consume time, it will consume more money like this. Yes, in a company, in an IT company or else in a tech company, money, and apart from this money, time is very much important. To develop such kind of application will take time and also cost. To analyze this cost, several frameworks are found. Several frameworks came to evolve. Let me say one example here. So consider you have a company, you have a tech company, and you're going to develop a same Netflix kind of app in your company. You have five people of group for each and every operating system or platform to develop that kind of streaming app like this Netflix. Now you're going to allot those peoples with their respective programming languages, which means you are going to hire those peoples with this language. It will categorize into experience, and they will ask for the salaries also categories with their experience and languages they have known. Yes, we need to provide that. You are the owner or else you're the CEO. You need to allot those money. Since you are a startup, you need to allot the money to that pot, and you're going to get started the development. Now you started developing this application, but in between that you started to know that your idea is stolen, which is nothing but the same idea is going to be developed with another company, your competitive company. Now what will happen? The company is getting hike. The competition is getting high. Next, the company which is competitive to you develop the application before you. How this happens? Let me say some scenarios. Maybe the developers in your company struggle to develop the app with these languages. Maybe they are experienced, they will start the development, or else even experienced. If you have a lot of experience, still you struggle in some kind of it because we are learning till our end. Okay, so the people will develop these languages. They will have some experience or a lot of experience. According to that, they will face some errors. They struggle to solve that error or any kind of technical issues that happens. Maybe in your company itself, before the Android, maybe iOS team will finish the application before this Android. So what you have here, you didn't have any consistency over the development. And due to this group of team which have these programming languages mastered, they can't help one another because they are different in their programming languages. So you're stuck in the time and you started to struggle. That company or competitive company have published the app and they get the benefit of it. So this happens. How this happens? This happens due to the language barrier between these. So which you consumes your lot of money as well as the time. So which means nothing but these operating systems have different programming languages to develop with, which the company needs to hire different peoples, and it will take a lot of time and a lot of money. To resolve this issue, Google came up with the idea, which is here we have lately seen. Here we have seen this called Flutter framework. So we have competitive for this Flutter framework, which is a React Native on the JavaScript language or TypeScript. Here this Flutter framework by the Google, where you can develop these multi-platform applications from a single code base. This is what you need to understand corely. So here you can see we have different operating system and different programming languages we have, but this Flutter has only one programming language With that one programming language, you can develop for Android OS, iOS, Mac OS, desktop, Linux, and embedded too. So, which I think you will know that you can save some time in development. You can reduce the development cost too, because since this is a single programming language which can be used for the all the platforms, you will get the point. Now you can see it has some several advantages fast, which is something that since it's going to convert that programming language into a native code. How this Flutter achieve this? Because I have earlier said that this Android OS only understand this Kotlin or Java. Then how this Flutter achieve this kind? Since Flutter uses a programming language called Dart. I I know you people's like imagine what is Dart, because this Dart language is also introduced by the Google company at the year of 2012, but still a lot of people don't know about this programming language called it is existed. Okay. So how this Dart programming language, while in the app development by using Flutter, gets converted to this, and how this Android OS understand this Dart language, because we are going to use this only one programming language to develop for Android, iOS, Mac, Windows, Linux, and embedded. How it understands, because this operating system only understands these languages. How they are using an framework, in other terms, and it is called as like a converter. You can imagine, like you can I have said it previously, the translator. If an English person speaks English to the Indian one who knows Hindi, we need a translator. Likewise, here they're using a translator which is called as like any kind of engine which is present below the framework. So here we have the translator. For your reference, I'm going to mention the translator, but it is not exactly called as translator. Mind that word. Okay. Okay, translator. That is going to translate that dot into Kotlin or any kind of platform where you are going to run. For example, if you run that application in Android, it will convert this dot into Kotlin or Java, because this Android only understand Kotlin or Java. Like if you're going to run or export this application for the Mac or iOS, it will be converted into Swift or Objective-C, respective operating system, OS language, respective OS language. Like if you're going to export or run that application in the Windows, it will be converted to this any one of, like we have in this. So this how Flutter achieves cross-platform. So you're going to develop with this one language and you can achieve multi-platform. So this how Flutter achieve this cross-platform. So Dot is one of a static language and it also has higher performance rate. So since we are going to develop that applications, the Dot language, that application is also going to be the fast. That's what they have mentioned here, fast. And productive mentions hot reload and hot restart functionalities. I will mention what is this hot reload. Nothing but if you done changes in your code and if you want to look the changes, you can instantly check the changes. Let's say how they are saying is productive. Flexible is nothing but we can develop applications for Android devices, like it can be Android, a miniature phone, or else to the tablet. You can see the screen size. That's why they are saying here flexible. You can develop for any screen. Since you can also develop for embedded devices, you can also make it through the TV too. You can develop app for TV by using this Flutter. That's why they're mentioning flexible. You can convert the app into any scale according to your development. So reach users on every screen is nothing but different screens, different plan. Okay. Now you got the point. So since Flutter started at the year of 2017. But the concept of Flutter is was set by the Google the IO note in the 2015 itself. It came to the 2017 into the market and widely used by the companies at the 2018. And still now it is a popular choice for startup companies to develop apps. Let us see what are the apps developed by using this Flutter framework. I'm going to this showcase and I'm going to show this. Okay, Flutter Google. So since this Flutter was introduced by the Google, even the Google apps made with the Flutter framework, like the most widely used payment gateway in India is a Google Pay. This is also developed by the Flutter framework in Android as well as iOS devices. Like in your phone, you have GP, which is developed by the Flutter. Next, we have Google Earth and blah blah blah, extra of Google products. We have Agate, TeamLab, Headspace, MGM Resorts, LG Electronics, which is something that LG TVs in Japan. Nowadays, they have started to use Flutter for their smart TVs. And we have Xiaomi, Whirlpool Volt, Sync, Universal Studios, Supercell, Monta, etc. etc. These companies started to use Flutter for their application development. Okay, good. Now you got the point. Now back to the idea. Okay. So for this ad bridge to achieve the multi-platform, I have chosen the Flutter framework to achieve multi-platform because I need to, since I'm not a big deal, I going to the Kotlin and going to develop an enterprise level of applications, not like that. I'm going to make it as a startup. Just I'm going to start my idea since that's why I have used Flutter for that purpose because it can achieve multiples of devices developed. Next. So how the applications are set? What is the functionality or is the core feature is going to add up in this ad bridge application? The core feature added in this ad bridge application is nothing but file sharing or else any kind of different kinds of file between devices. Like imagine you have your laptop, you are in a workspace and you are going to share or else if you want to share your file to your colleague, to your teammate or any kind of person. It can be any kind of file, it can be a coding file, it can be a text file, it can be Word, PDF, whatever maybe. But you want to share it to the laptop. I know you people, so if you are using Windows, you struggle to do that because of we cannot directly transfer file from Windows to Windows. Since we have that one kind of nearby share, but it sucks. I know because we cannot directly share that file to it. To enhance the experience in this, so we are going to use a tech called Websocket. Nothing but communicating two devices via IP protocol. Let me explain here. So we have a IP protocol. So imagine we have a device here in our system. We need to transfer file from this system A to the system B. To achieve this, I go for some R&D. What are the things we can use to share file from device to device? I analyze that like using something inside that device itself like network or else Bluetooth or else Wi-Fi or location to communicate between devices. Whether it may be native or else anything, we can communicate with these devices. So I thought to use a network instead of going for multiples of things like using Wi-Fi, using Bluetooth. Like you can see in the Android devices, while you are using some now like what can I say, some applications to share file in your Android device to Android device. It will ask to enable Bluetooth. It will ask to enable location. It will ask to enable a lot of things. It will ask to enable three kind of things, primarily like location, Bluetooth, and hotspot to communicate with these devices. So instead of turning on these kinds of permissions inside the device, simply to use the network itself. It's my idea to share file between one device to another device. So which means these devices are going to share bidirectionally from user A to user B by using a network protocol. By using a network, simply a network. And I will explain protocol and other things deeply right now. Okay. So via the network is going to done. And also this can be done to multiples of devices rather than the desktop. We are going for mobile devices. You can imagine we have mobile devices in two platforms. What are those? If you know, please put it in the comment. We have mobile devices like in the Android and iOS. I have said the answer. So whether you have Android or iOS, you can share from desktop to these devices too. So it happens in a bidirectional way by using a technology called Websocket. So we are going to use this WebSocket to transfer file from one devices to multi-platforms of devices. So how this WebSocket has done this? How we have done this? I will explain this thing. Okay. Okay, you can see. So here we are going to use IP as simply an IP address. You can see the ideation here. IP address. Like UA represents the user A and UB represents the user B. Okay. So when the user A wants to share the file to the user B, so if they are going to use this AdBridge application, simply they need a network facility. That's alone is enough. Okay. So they will select the file, and what will happen here? The backend, which we are going to use the Node.js as a backend. So I will also explain this Node.js right now after explaining this WebSocket. Okay. So this Node.js backend is going to get that request from the user A. Okay. Hey, I'm going to share this file to the user B. This will be communicated to this Node.js backend. So what will happen? An internal server will start to run inside the user A itself. So user A will have an internal server running in their respective protocol. Imagine your own front end will act as an internal server for you to share the file. Like this, an internal server will start to run. Where it will run? It will run in your local IP port. IP is nothing but your internet protocol. So it will run into in a internet protocol itself. That server will take your IP port. It can be your local port. After that, so this local port will run till the application is closed. So the same kind of thing is goes for the user B2, which means these two persons needs to be inside the AdBridge application. If they go outside of the AdBridge application, if they go offline, I will say what will happen. Okay. So if they both are online, the user A sends the file to the user B. First, they will enable the internal server within the IP protocol. User A also happens, and for the user B, it's also happen. So they both get started with their own IP port inside the local server. Next, this is what I have said, that local HTTP server, local HTTP protocol. And this local IP port will be registered in the backend. For an instance, to know whether the user's IDs and to get to that the user's potential data. So I'm going to store that metadata of local IPs inside my MongoDB database. So this in this MongoDB database. So this Node.js backend will get their local IP and port, IP address and the port, and will register it to the user B. And the user B will be registered to the user A. So this both their metadata will be stored in the MongoDB, but for better user experiences in the further. So when they are online, when their IP address are shared, no, a pipeline is made between these two IP addresses and ports since they have their local server running internally. So now you have a pipeline to share bytes of data to that one person to another person. You can still imagine this tech has been introduced in the latest news. You can see that Twitter old CEO, or so I don't know much about news, but I have heard about the news. Twitter founder, I think so. I don't know. Okay. Anyway, the ex-Twitter tech lead has developed a chat app by using the Bluetooth, where you can chat with people in the nearby communications via the Bluetooth communication. So you can see you don't need an internet to chat with others. Just you need a Bluetooth itself to chat with others. So this happens via this Bluetooth. To you can where you can send bytes of data with this Bluetooth. Likewise, we are going to use this internet. So yeah, local internal server will run in the user A and user B, which is going to make a pipeline to share bytes of data. Which means you have certain restrictions in sharing file. Like this pipeline, which takes the internal server running and the multiples of user. Just for example, I have said user A and user B. You can imagine for the multiples of users to have size restrictions, which means this pipeline can only handle a maximum of 250 megabytes of data. Apart from this, you cannot share. You can share, but what will happen? Your internal server will start to collapse due to heavy size of that content. So here the twist comes off. So if you're going to use this ideology for 250 size file sizes, then how about more than that? That where it comes an alternative one. What I thought here, we can share files between by using these IP pipelines and ports amount of 250 megabytes from user to multiples of users. If it files, like if you got a larger file size, you want to share this to your friend, you can use another alternative solution. Here I got this. So this also happens if the any kind of user is not available if we go offline, or else if the user is still there but you don't have enough. Your files is more than that 50 megabytes. This alternative solution start to work in that server itself. What will happen? Let us consider scenario. You are going to send a shared file to the user B, but the user B is offline. He is not in that application. What will happen? So the Node.js server will understand that the registered IP port of this user B is not currently online. Alternatively, it pushes the file to the AWS cloud. The another tech we have used is AWS S3, Amazon from the Amazon Web Services. So what will happen? It will push that file. It will push that file to the AWS S3 for the future reference. If the user B comes back online, a pop-up notification will appear in their application. Okay, user A wants to share this file to you. Accept or not. If you accept, it will promote a link to download that file. How about this idea? This is an alternative solution. Also, elsewhere, thus I have said a pipeline will be enhanced for the local transfer within the size range of 250 megabytes. And also, if you exceed the size, this condition will work. Uses local IP or else offline mode. Okay. So what are the study cases I have met and what are the things I have so far done? I will share that knowledge too. So for the project discussion and other things, I don't know much developers. I don't have any colleagues to share some thoughts to me. That's why I have asked this AI. So I have used ChatGPT, Gemini, and Perplexity, these kind of AI to get started with ideations. So you can see I have mentioned here what I have done with this artificial intelligence to get started into my project. So I have used code quality for ChatGPT. So sorry, code quality inside my application by using the ChatGPT because I need my this application needs to be more furnished in each and every possible way, which is nothing but I need a better code quality to make it more readable and enhanceable in the future references. That's why I have used ChatGPT. And for the idea and creation, surely I need some extra ideas to add these features or else whether it will be good or bad and to communicate the pros and cons, to debate between the pros and cons of this feature or else upcoming feature what I'm going to add. I need that pros and cons. That's why I go for the Gemini. Gemini is better in debating and pros and cons and ideations. That's why I use Gemini. And for the infrastructure is nothing but the scalability. What are the other tech stacks can be used to enhance the user experience? For these kind of questions, I have used a Perplexity. So for the project discussion, I have used this kind of artificial intelligence. Next, project tech stack. So this is the project tech stack so far using this topic average. For the front end side to develop cross-platform, multi-platform app, we have used Flutter. Now I have introduced what is Flutter and how it is used. Now, next for the backend side, we are going to use Node.js and Express.js. To communicate internal server, we are going for the Websocket. And for the database, absolutely the MongoDB. And for the cloud storage of files, we are going for AWS S3. And to run the server from local to the user availability, we are going to use Elastic Beanstalk. But I thought of using AWS EC2. But considering the project structure and scalability and cost, importantly, the cost is which affects is more. That's why I go for the Elastic Beanstalk. And for the cloud, which is going to run my artificial intelligence. Yes, I have scaled this app to have a AI feature inside this app. I will explain one by one in an upcoming live. So how I have integrated these things inside the app. Okay, Google Cloud. So I'm using this Vertex AI and Gemma 27 billion parameter model inside my AdBridge application for some features. So for this purpose, I need to use a Google Cloud platform. So I have introduced GCP inside it and Vertex AI and Gemma 27 billion parameter and GitHub and Docker for one is to show the code and for the scalability of code and to have the code analyzed in each and every manner, and for the Docker is to make it available for upcoming developers or anything. That's why I need a Docker. But I thought to enhance this project by using containerizations, enhancing the containerization and making it smaller chunks. But since our text have enhanced a lot, so I need to keep in mind and need to develop this. Since I am the only one who is going to work on these tech stacks, it become a more and more hard to work on these technologies by a single man. However, I start to work on this. Okay, next. By the way, I'm not well experienced in all these tech stacks. Still, I'm also learning, so I cannot. I cannot say I'm an expertise in this tech stack and I'm going to develop this project in an one. So I need some time to go with these texts. Okay. So next, how the project works on the client side. Just like an imagination, I will show the Figma file of it. You can have a better glance of how the application is going to look. Okay. So these are the authentication pages we have so far done. Still, it needs some enhancements in the authentication login pages and also in the home pages too. Okay, let us have a glance in this home page. You can see here the send files, recent files, cloud store, account, and other steps. Okay. So in the app, we have authentication page. In that authentication page, we have an authentication right happening in that application, like the name, username, email, contact number, password, and other things. And according and getting these information along with the local IP port. You can see already we have said that we are going to get the local IP port, which will be brought up here and will be stored in the MongoDB database. So after the successful authentication, along with the token, a WebSocket connection will be enhanced, which is something but internal server started to run. So which next they will be allowed to see the dashboard page here, this page. By the way, why my designs look so big in the, like you can see it looks like a web screen or desktop screen? Absolutely yes, it is a web screen. Sorry, desktop screen, which is MacBook Pro 16-inch. So why I'm going with this one? Because I thought first my idea is to develop for the desktop devices, but later I started and think like we can't enhance into the multiple devices. That's why. So the first idea just starts with the desktop. That's why. Okay, good. So goes to the dashboard. In the dashboard, you will see some send files, share files, whatever maybe. Simply a button. If you press this button, it will ask you to select some files. Okay, you will select some files. What in other way, WebSocket connection is active and listening for the notification from other side. Like shares and files. If the permission is granted, automatically select the file. And what you will do in the local IP itself, you will select a user, which user you want to share your, for example, or else here pop-up will appear. The user, hey, this user is available. Or else in the recent files, you will see some previously file shared users, whether they are offline or online, like this functionality. And also the available users will be shown here to share the file with them. So once you will tap them, it will share the file. Now here, the if else condition started to work. Like you have a file which is greater in size of 250 megabytes. Automatically, without any considerations, this file will be moved to the AWS S3 cloud. Because as you heard, I have said previously, this pipeline of local IP and port sharing, WebSocket connection will only share files within the 250 of megabytes. Apart from this, the server will start to collapse, because if the file is larger in size, the server will start to collapse. To reduce this risk, automatically Node.js server will share the file to AWS S3. And the gimmick one, we have said that we have used that vertex and Gemma. For what purpose? You can see text summarization. I will not say the how this feature is done here, but in the upcoming video I will share that knowledge how it is done. And also the file metadata like the file name, file size, and the particular file ID will be given, and the metadata will be showed in the MongoDB, and the file will be shared. Like if the file size is greater than that, the file downloadable URL will be shared to the user. Like if you are going to share to your friend and the files is greater than that, the AWS S3 downloadable URL only shared to that particular user where they can download that file. Or else, if the size is less than 250 megabytes, automatically internal sharing will happen. You can share the file peer to peer without any disturbance. So this is what we have said in this. And what is this upload and share, API and share file? These are backend endpoints I have mentioned here. Okay, let's go to that evaluation of artificial intelligence in this application. So before getting into this buzzing word AI into my project ideation, I thought to have some debates inside my mind whether the AI feature is essential for my app. If so, what are the AI features I can add up inside my application? So for this, I go for the, as you can see, I have project discussion with this artificial intelligence itself. So I got some project ideations. So first, what are the AI features I can add up inside my application? So these are the AI features I can add up and the purpose and implementation approach. So here we have smart file recommendation system, like file recommendation, which will recommend some file to the user while they are going to share, or else while they have the received the file, the recommendation will work. What is the purpose of this smart file recommendation? To enhance the speed transfer or the transfer rate. For this, you need to use on-device LLM, machine learning, or recommendation models. But keep in mind, this AI features looks like an amazing idea, but it comes with a cost. I will explain why. Device next AI feature, device prioritization, like faster preferred connections with the devices. Like imagine you have multiples of files shared to that colleagues, like a user A, user B. You have transferred a lot of files, then considered to the user C. So automatically it will prioritize the devices. Like for this, we are using learning from usage patterns from the machine learning or artificial intelligence models. And auto file categorizations, improved organization visibility, like this. And thread and sensitivity reduction, adaptive transfer optimization, voice natural language commands, analytics, blah blah, and other stuff. So adaptive transfer optimization and thread sensitivity reduction, like to detect the threads inside a file. Like if you're going to share your file to your friend, which contains some malware in it, so automatically detect that malware and to stop from sharing or will stop from receiving the other user. Adaptive transfer optimization and voice or natural language commands. I think this voice or natural language commands is not much needed inside our app, but anyway, I thought it to analytic and usage insights. So in this idea, I thought of providing some something apart from this. First, with this idea, I go for the threads and sensitivity reduction. You can see it is an easy one to looks like implemented with this in this project idea. Since we are going to share file, we need to detect whether it contains malware or not to share, because the users are the more important people to us inside the app. So if the user, if some users misuse and send the malware file to some other people, it will be a disaster to operate, or else it will be a big wrong name to our app. To avoid this, first I thought to make a threat sensitivity reduction to detect the malware inside the app, because other end, the receiver end, can easily understand, like they can have the information whether this file contains malware or virus. So this looks more suitable for my idea, the thread and sensitivity detection, which looks more suitable. But after deep analyzing this topic, thread and sensitivity detection, it consumes a lot of cost and a lot of server side work. I will explain why. So thread and sensitivity detection is not an easy one. Security and compliance, we need a particular model for that. Let me go to this recommend open source models by feature. Here we have the feature and models. You can see malware and thread detecting malicious files. So for this, we need to use custom trained models on scikit-learn, random forest, ONNX models, on open source repos from GitHubs or anything, whatever available. So I didn't get any preferred model for this malware and threat detection. I didn't get any preferred model. So it is hard to get started with some other model. How to whether this model is fit for the malware detection, I don't know about this much. So I lack of models for this malware and threat detection, and also I don't familiar with this scikit-learn or this kind of words models. So what I have in my mind, I have heard about this Gemma model from Google. I heard about it is an open source model, but I don't know what it does, whether the Gemma model is suitable or not, whether what it does. So I go for the Gemma model and I do R&D in the Gemma. In the Gemma model, I do R&D. So what is the Gemma? What is the Gemma model, and what we can do with the model? What is primarily used for? And I analyze R&Ds and I have done. So I started to know this Gemma model. It has a family of models like 27B, 13, or some other billions of parameter model, which is used for the creativity purposes. I simply said in the creativity, but it is used for most widely text-based or else any kind of text prompt, audio prompt, these kinds of prompt-based model. So I thought that this Gemma will not helpful for to detect threats and sensitivity data. So why I got this Gemma model to fit it in this app? Because I heard I want in the previous days, uh, I want to include any kind of AI feature by using this Gemma. I thought that too. So that's why I came up with the Gemma inside this project area. So I consider the Gemma model here. So since my primary thing to go with the malware detection, there is a lack of models, and also this model detection comes with a lot of processing power, because this mod, if you develop some models with to detect the malware and threat, these models have higher power consumption, higher processing powers. Wait a sec. Okay, sorry for the disturbance. Okay, so higher processing, because I have gone through the online researches and thought these models consumes a lot of server side power, a lot of server side processing, which makes our app slow, or else makes our other functionalities will be disturbed with this model to make that malware threat detection. So since I'm using AWS S3 for the server side rendering of my backend service, if I integrate the malware threat detected models into that, if it consumes a lot of processing thing, it also parallelly increase my cost, because what it will do, it will increase my processing time, automatically it will increase my cost. Automatically it will increase my cost. It will automatically increase my cost. So I'm only one developer who is going to develop this project, and I'm seriously broke. Just kidding, guys. Seriously, I'm broke. Just kidding. Not like that broke much. So I don't want to spend my lot of money in this one single project, and that's why. Since I'm a one developer, I don't want to waste a lot of money in this project. That's why, since it is a startup idea, it is not an enterprise level. This is just a startup idea. So, so what I thought, I want to spend a small amount of money for it instead of going with a larger amount of money. So that's why I stopped this idea, malware detection, because it consumes a lot of power, lot of processing power, which results in increased amount of money in my server side. So, and I do some researches in the Gemma model, what I can do with this Gemma model inside this app itself, and I got an idea. Why can't we do a text summarization inside our app? Since we are sharing file, am I right? So why we can provide some feature to the receiver end? This file consists of this. Before opening the file, they can have some summarization about it. Hey, this file consists this kind of topics. Summarizations. Yes, that's a brilliant idea. Can be provided with this Gemma model. So what I have done, I go for the Gemma model for the auto file categorization and file summarization. So which suits the project ideation since we are sharing files. So for the malware detection idea dropped due to the high server process consuming. Hence, the cost is increased. So I drop down the malware. But in future, I have an idea to implement it, because this is the first AI feature I thought I added inside my app, but due to its cost and other related things, I dropped this idea. So I thought to provide it to the text summarization. But in future, sure, I will add this in my app. Okay. So this is an entire idea. So I hope you got the idea of what we are going to develop. So soon we are going to develop. Since you can see, we have already started designing. Now what we have already started the backend, and the backend is completed almost 40 to 30% of these features. 30 to 40% of the future for this entire app, or the functionality for this app, is completed in the backend side. So now we need to test those backend services. So what we need a front end. So front end feature is also ready because we have the design, and also we have started programming that front end size. So guys, I'm the only one person who is going to develop this project, and also I'm working in the daytime. In the Monday to Saturday in my company, for the company I'm working. So barely I can put a video on these topics. Well, however, in the upcoming days, I thought to provide a weekly live. So sure, I will come and meet up in the next live about this project in a better idea. In between, if it is possible to put some short durations of video, surely I will put it. Until then, thanks for watching. I will catch up in the next